would like to take you back through the years and touch on some of the events in our 20 years of existence in Cameron County. 20 years ago, several local men had a dream to begin a radio station for Cameron County. The originator of the dream was Mr. Bernard Erskine, native of Emporium, and now dividing his time between Arizona and Emporium. The corporation was formed February 1st, 1957, and is known as Emporium Broadcasting Company. The men involved in the formation were Bernie Erskine, Robert Taylor, Ralph Merkel, Lionel Minard, and John Radeski. One of these men is still serving on the board of directors, John E. Radeski. The other directors are Ann Spots, President, Janine Jones, Vice President, Deb Lanzello, Secretary, Vito Lanzello, Treasurer, with directors Carl Kelly, George Erskine, Frank Gillespie, and John Glasgow. In 1957, when plans were being made for the new station, Jim Spots contacted the group and applied for the position of manager. At that time, Jim was chief announcer at WBPZ in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. After much correspondence and information back and forth between Emporium and Lock Haven, Jim was hired for the new position. Jim, his wife Ann, daughter Deb, who was 6 years old at that time, and daughter Janine, who was 3, moved to Emporium December 15, 1957. They secured a home on Ash Street, where Ann and daughter Suzanne, age 11, still reside. The wheels were in motion. A construction permit was applied for with the FCC. The call letters were selected, WLEM, which stands for Land of the Endless Mountains. The Associated Press News Service was selected and is still the one used today by WLEM. An interesting note was the cost of the original AP service as compared with today. In 1958, the cost was $37.60. Today, the service is $79.10 per week, an increase of $41.50, or $2,158 a year. Record services were selected, and a library of music was started. Through the years, many hundreds have been given away to listeners on record giveaway programs to clear the shelves and make room for more. Today, thousands of records are in the WLEM racks. The first location of WLEM was the Warner Hotel at the corner of 4th and Broad Streets, now the site of Dave's Arco station. Several years later, the Warner was torn down and WLEM moved to its present location, 145 East 4th Street in the Kelly Building. The original studios were set up in a first-floor apartment of the east end of the Warner Hotel, directly beside the post office. It consisted of 2 offices, 1 studio, and 1 control room. For many months, plans were formed by Lionel Minard and Jim Spots. Lionel, at that time, was Bernie Erskine's assistant and was acting in his behalf. A site was chosen by the board of directors for the antenna and transmitter building. It is located at the east end of town and was purchased from Steve Troncone. The original staff consisted of Jim Spots, manager, Helen G., bookkeeper, Dean Close, chief announcer, Joe Newton, announcer, Lou Johnson, copywriter, Ken Coleman, and Bill Murphy were the engineers. Invitations were sent to several hundred local and area guests to attend the premiere broadcast and the party which took place before the broadcast. The party was held in the American Legion building, now known as Memorial Hall. The honored guest for the dedication was Senator Barry Goldwater, personal friend of Mr. Erskine. Jimmy Dean, recording artist, provided the music and entertainment. Along with Jimmy were the Kendall sisters, who also took part in the opening broadcast. The group backing Jimmy Dean, musically for the affair, was the Etudes. The high school band was under the direction of Rudy Anito. Reverend Howard Duncan gave the invocation. Others on the program were Dr. Francis O'Malley, Edward Tompkins II, who was Burgess of Emporium Borough at the time, and Frank Berman, representing the Chamber of Commerce as their current president. Since the dedication was held in the Cameron County High School auditorium, students were selected as ushers. The ushers were Jane Sarton, Elizabeth Young, Jane Quigley, Grace Thomas, Coral Huber, Mary Cleary, Jean Duncan, Eva Hart, Angelo Agliardo, Ed Usedale, Ted Whiting, and Jim Slider. And now we would like to read you this news item from the Associated Press, dated March 2nd, 1958. From Emporium, Pennsylvania, Senator Barry Goldwater, a Republican of Arizona, said today that more small businesses would be created if the government would cut taxes and reduce what he calls unnecessary expenditures. Goldwater made the remark at a news conference just before taking part in ceremonies marking the dedication and premiere broadcast of radio station WLEM in Emporium. Goldwater said, and we quote, "If the government is going to embark on a deficit spending program, it would be much better to reduce taxes and let the people spend their own money." Others who took part in the WLEM dedication broadcast were recording stars Jimmy Dean and the Kendall sisters, State Senator George B. Stevenson from Lock Haven, Congressman Alvin R. Bush, and State Assemblyman Edwin W. Tompkins.